Hello, this is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. Please hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Today's video is regarding the timing of when Richard Allen's vehicle drove to the abandoned CPS building. I'm just testing out the timing and see how well it matches up with what the probable cause document said and what trial said, as they are absolutely identical. So what we're going to do is we're going to have the time in the upper right hand corner being 1:25 and 41 seconds. Just use, this is PM here. And we're going to show various times, like when the car parked at the abandoned CPS building, as it's driving by the Hoosier Harvest Store first in the abandoned CPS building. Then I actually show the entire walk from there to where he passes the three girls. And I use various videos of different videos that I've had in my archives and ones that I filmed when I was out there. All right. So at near the end, we have it where, you know, I have Betsy Blair walking to the bridge, and then I have her turning around. Now I use some creative editing by just reversing the video when she gets there, turns around, and I have it go back. And then when she passes the girls, I go forward again, and the girls then, you know, meaning Abby and Libby, start walking towards the bridge, and then they eventually have to run into Bridge Guy. So let's just watch this. This is the real-time playing of it. So that right there is the cell tower on the right. So if you didn't know where that was, that cell tower is right there. You can even see the shadow of it. And this is Ron Logan's property right there, the cemetery, the Mears property. This is the Hoosier Harvest Store that captured all the amazingly important footage. And then this is the abandoned CPS building. This is the Freedom Bridge, and this is the path that goes all the way to the Monon High Bridge. And the parking area where people parked is right there. Okay, so here we go. And we're on 300. I think it's West 300 North, if I remember correctly. And there's a certain portion here where it goes around the corner right by the Mears property, and then we're going to pass the cemetery here in a moment. It's near that tree, that larger tree that you see there on the left. And you can see some of the gravestones on the left, and we're passing the cemetery right now. Sorry for all the bugs and whatnot on the windshield here. That was about a year ago or so when I was there. And when we get to the trees coming up, that's essentially where the parking area is, across from the Mears property. And I'll point it out as we're driving by. Now there's also times where I pull in to a parking area or something, and then I edit out the part where I pull in. Now, right now on the clock is 1:26 and some odd seconds. At 1:26, that is when the image was taken at a bench, and it's down on the trail. So that is the actual image right there. And then the area is just off to the left in this segment right here. And this is right when Richard Allen, in the vehicle that we're in right now, we'll pretend, is driving by the Hoosier Harvest Store. But just down there were those girls. So he actually passed them. Had they looked up, they might have seen maybe the top of the vehicle, because they are down a bank. So then Richard Allen continued driving around this corner here, and when we get around this corner, he will park at the abandoned CPS building. So look at the time it is, 1:27:45, and then pulls into where the abandoned CPS building was. Now we don't know if it was 1:27 and 40 seconds when he passed the Hoosier Harvest Store. We just have to guess. So 1:28. Now I'm making it so that he basically gets out of his car almost immediately, but I do pause it here for a minute. Just, you know, people don't just hop right out of their car. So it's paused, and we're just going to wait a little bit, and then eventually we'll pick up on that little path right there. So let's just say 1:28 and 26 seconds. he's getting here. He's sort of making sure. Hell, maybe he brought another beer with him and was drinking one in the car to get ready for what he's about to do. And I think I have him leaving here about 1:29. So right now it's 1:28, 50 seconds, 52, 53, 54. And here we are. Now I'm standing out on the path, and now I'm starting to walk. So around 1:29. So he drives by the Hoosier Hardware Store 1:27. And let's say about 1:29 he starts walking down this path. And this is the, you know, I'm walking at my pace here. And so he might have been walking a little bit quicker. He might have been walking a little slower. We don't really know. I do stop here for a moment. And I was using a 360-degree camera here, but I'm just I recorded it facing the one direction. When you have the actual footage, you can look in any direction you want. And it's pretty amazing. I think more people should start trying to use 360-degree cameras when they go out to crime scenes. I actually think that police vehicles should have them on top of their cars, and even, perhaps even, you know, have like a camera on top of heads of officers. I mean, it'd be absolutely incredible to reconstruct, like if they're chasing somebody, etc. You'll be able to see where everybody is at all times. And I think it'd be incredible for investigative purposes. And you can, if you have a large enough SD card, you can record quite a long period of time. So you might want to be something where you would turn on, like as you're exiting the police car. So here's that path. Now I'm out there during a different time of year. It's lush, and so it doesn't look the same. When it's really important to, you know, get other shots. So in this video, I actually switch over to what it looked like back then at different times. So you'll see that, but you can really see through the trees very easily. All right, so here's that little path, and that is the Freedom Bridge that you see in the background there. And what I also do is I show you Betsy Blair's drive as well, and it'll all be timed up. So right now we are watching, you know, from Richard Allen's perspective as he came to the bridge. He parked at the abandoned CPS building, and then he walks on this little path here. And this is all was kind of newer construction. It was just before 2017, I think like 2014 or 15, when they built this bridge here, and they replaced the old State Road 25. And that happens to be the bridge that Betsy Blair drives under and looks up and sees the 4 girls. And we'll show all of that too. But this is where Richard Allen would have been walking. You can see it's 1:32 right now. And I actually stopped at that sign in the original video, but I edited that out, and then I just kind of cut to where I start moving again. So there you go. So I wanted to keep the timing pretty consistent. So it's 1:32, and on my show I've been saying about 1:33-ish is about when he would pass the girls, the 4 girls. And apparently there's an individual named Doug Rice who found out that they passed right here where the woods switch over from the path to the wooded area. Now this is when I was out there with Robert Ives. I switched right over to that, and we're walking with a really good pace. You can see we're catching up. So maybe that would mimic what Richard Allen was doing when he had his head down. Looked like he was walking with a purpose. All right, so this is the trail. And let me show you, I'll just pause it really quick and on the map. So what we just saw was we drove up like this past the Hoosier Hardware Store, parked here at the abandoned CPS building. We just walked onto this trail like this, and then around, and then here is where the where Richard Allen would have passed the 3 girls, or 4. There was 4 girls. He saw 3 of them. And right now we're probably right in this area, walking down this direction. All right. So let's keep going. It's 1:33 in 8 seconds. And we're walking pretty fast. I can tell you that you can just see on the ground that we're moving pretty quickly. And you can actually count the steps, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So really quickly moving, and it still takes a while to get there. And the people in front of us, however, one of them knew that I was going to be there, so was trying to block our way. Just an absolute nut job. But anyways, we passed them, and eventually we ended up passing them. And as you just saw, that was Robert Ives, the first prosecutor in the case. He took me and my wife out there. Of course, I'm on the payroll, so, you know, he was able to take me out there. Oh, wait, I wasn't supposed to say that. Ooh, my God, whoa. Man, just waiting for the trolls to take that line. They're so good at it. So we're walking pretty quick. We catch up to him, and we pass. Now, we're about to get to where the bench is. So at the beginning of the video, when I had the arrow pointing down, that is going to be, I think it's the first bench that we come to on the left, is where Bree and her friends were when they took the picture at that bench. There's kind of like this little, kind of looks like a bridge that we're going to be coming up to. And right now it's getting close to 1:35. So around this time is when Kelsey, Abby, and Libby are getting ready to leave the house. I think they leave the house probably at like 1:37. Maybe 1:48, something like that. Or 1:38, something like that. 1:38, 1:39. But they're at the house, and I'm sure they're getting ready to go. And it was interesting because these people sped up as well, even though they're walking slower. And look how they're purposely taking up the entire path. Boy, they're such rogues, man. The one of them claimed that I've covered the floor fire for years and years and years, but I deleted them all. I've only covered the floor fire once, on one show, one time. She must have me confused with somebody else. But plus, I'm deleting all the videos because I don't want to be prosecuted for helping the family come up with a timeline. Oh my God. If you guys ever saw some of the comments that are online, you'd be just absolutely shocked. Just insane people. Literally, like, certifiable. So here we are. We're trying to pass, and now they're starting to talk. That one in the back thought Robert Ives was me, strangely. And look at the guy moves over, try to block our way. And we're like, yeah, is there something wrong? No, we're just... And then I just kind of go by him on the left here. And so we are moving quickly. 1:36, 42 seconds. And we're about to get to where the bench is. You'll see it up here in a minute. And this is, I think in this video too, I had to edit out where we stopped for a moment. I think I already got rid of that. Nah, I was right there. So we stopped for a moment, then I just kept moving. You can see Robert Ives is making some time here. 1:37, 18 seconds. So that bench right there on the left, that's the bench that those girls took the photograph at because you can see the slope of the bank in the background. The next one is nowhere near that high. So that is where they were about 1 minute prior to Richard Allen driving by that area. Then they walked that direction towards the Freedom Bridge and passed Richard Allen as he came in. and they were at the bench at 126. Richard Allen's vehicle passed the Hoosier Harvest door at 127, and then he parked his car. He said he walked to the bridge, and he passed 3 girls. So his words, the 126 time, and the Hoosier Harvester video proved that Richard Allen got there at 1:30. Around 1:30, like he told Dan Doolin. Now, he tried to change it to 12 to 1:30 in his, when he was brought in for questioning in October of 2022. He changed it. And see this bench right here? It doesn't have the same height in the background. So this is uphill from the other bench. Or the hills are just different, like they go up and down, obviously. Yeah, and so the same 4 girls clear the entire trail from 12:25 to 1:26, and they didn't see Richard Allen. And also Betsy Blair was walking the trails, and she didn't see Richard Allen during that other loop that she was on. So there was she went there to do 3 loops, and during the first and second loop, she never saw Richard Allen at all. And that also clears that same time frame. Now, right now, we're about to walk past the parking area. So just to the left, that little trail that goes out to the left right there, that is the parking area across from the Mears property where everybody would park. I mean, that's where Kelsey dropped off Abby and Libby. That's where Betsy Blair parked, etc. So there is a bench right there on the right, and maybe that's the bench that Richard Allen said he was sitting on at some point. We don't know when or what time he would have sat on that bench, but either way, if he was sitting on that bench, you can't miss him. It would be easy, especially with no leaves on the trees. Everybody walking around would have seen him sitting there. So right now it's 1:40, and Abby and Libby are likely on their way, probably 2 minutes into the drive from the house. Now let me show you, let me pause this and show you. So Abby and Libby, they came from all the way up here and likely drove around like this and then came down like that and then across like that and went over to the parking area across from the Mears property right here, and they were dropped off. So it's 1:40 and 23 seconds. So this is Richard Allen. This is from his point of view, walking. As we know, I had him get out of the car at 1:29. Now it's 1:40 and 33 seconds because he had to walk on that first trail to get to the Freedom Bridge. Got onto this trail at like 1:32-ish. And we're walking pretty quickly. Now, it's possible he sat on that bench for a couple minutes, 2 or 3 minutes or so. But I don't know if he would have, because if he had sat on that bench first, he would have seen that the water was murky. So then why would he walk all the way to the Mononhai Bridge to look for fish in murky water? That wouldn't make a lot of sense, would it, Richard? So here we go. At 1:41, 18 seconds, still walking down the trail. Now you got to keep in mind that these trees are completely bare. There is not one leaf left on any of them. I don't think I've ever seen a place where the canvas gets so thick and lush during the summer months. This is late summer, so it's already, starting, late September is what this is. So it's starting to lose leaves. But when you go there in June or July, man, it's like a rainforest. It's unbelievable. But then, when the fall months come around, the leaves fall off and you can see like, 100 yards through the woods. Or even more. So there's an area right up here where it turns. And I think that's a great area for a psycho like Richard Allen to have retreated back to after Abby and Libby got there, he could have retreated back to this little turn, the end of it, and at the end of the turn you can see all the way back that direction behind us to where the little path where the girls were dropped off and Betsy Blair came, where they parked and came out and then turned left to get onto the trail. You can see all the way back there. So it'd be a great place to sort of monitor to see if anybody's coming. Because Richard Allen would have wanted to make sure that there wasn't anybody coming down the trail before he followed the girls across the bridge. He also wanted to make the girls feel safe, to allow them a feeling of sort of like safety. So he walks back like he's leaving, and then from a distance he can see all the way down there towards the bridge and see that, you know, what the girls are doing. And then he probably slowly crept forward to keep monitoring, and he noticed that they kept going further and further and further. So right around in this area, maybe a little bit behind, you could easily see both directions, and you also wouldn't show up in the photograph of Abby. Now there's whack jobs out there that say that the photograph of Abby on the bridge isn't real. That photograph was out on the internet the first night they were missing. And these people think that somebody did this amazing editing job just to throw it out there. For what reason? To hide the actual killer? So, oh wait, maybe Richard Allen put out an image to so that we couldn't see him in the background. Oh, okay. I mean, I've never seen, well, I have seen, there's many cases that are similar to this where people are just, they don't use rational thinking. It's unbelievable. See right here, it's 1:44 and 32 seconds. Now this is Richard Allen. Okay, and I'll keep the video playing to approximately be where he's about ready to get onto, yeah, so I switched it over. That's exactly the same spot because that little path on the left. So this is another video. This is what it actually looked like out there at that time. So this would be in the eyes of Richard Allen. He's going to head out to that first platform. Look what time it is, 1:45. And let's just say he makes it out there 1:45 and 10 seconds or so to the platform. And he's just standing there looking at fish. This person who filmed this was moving really slowly. Richard Allen was really comfortable on that bridge. And now here's Betsy Blair right at that same time when he's just getting there, going underneath State Road 25. So let me just rewind that a little bit. All right, so right here, right after this, 1:45 and 10 seconds. I guess we'll have to play this. Okay, this is the old State Road 25. When Betsy Blair drove underneath there, she looked up and saw the 4 girls walking across. And law enforcement has known that since the beginning. So those girls were crossing the bridge about 1:45, took the picture at 1:26. Now I did turn into there and then I just came back out and I picked up where I left off. So here we go, 1:45, 41 seconds. And I try to time it where she drives by the Hoosier Harvest store at about, I think it was 1:46-ish. Looks like I'm a little off on that. So maybe it's like 1:46 and 30 seconds or so. But this will be Betsy Blair right here. And we don't know the exact time. Is it 1:46 and 10 seconds? Is it 1:46 and 40 seconds? You know, because we always keep hearing 1:32 is when the phone stopped, but it was 1:32 and 39 seconds. The video at the end of the bridge was actually at 2:13 and like 40 seconds or so. So it's, you know, a lot of times they just give you a number like, yeah, 1:46, because that's the main numbers. They don't give you the seconds. So anyways, that's where the path that goes to the Freedom Bridge off to the right there. We're just driving around the corner here. So let me just show you what we just did. So Betsy Blair, she just drove underneath here like this and drove around. Now, obviously, I bust through the stop sign there. I didn't know what I was doing. I went under here, and then she drove like this and is coming around here, just looked that direction, and here's the Hoosier Harvest Store, and the camera on the side of the building filmed, so it'd probably be right in this area here where the camera picks her up. And you can see the Hoosier Harvest Store up there on the left. So, you know, this might be 30 seconds off or so. Don't really know, but 146 and 57 seconds. So maybe somewhere right around in this area it was picked up. So probably 35 seconds or so off on that, but it's 147. And I think she probably got out of her vehicle. I did pull into there and when I went there, so I just edited that out and then drove this direction. So 147.22, and then you'll see up there that little gravel area on the right. That's where people used to be able to pull in. That gate wasn't quite as close up. Maybe it was, though. They just usually kept it open. But, you know, parked right here and then got out and started walking. So I probably made up the time. Like, she probably sat in her car and got everything ready to go walking. So this is probably about the time she got out. Started walking. Could have been, you know, 30, 40 seconds earlier. But Richard Allen, he only got to the bridge at 1:45, right? So he couldn't have ran back because it takes about 6 minutes from here to get to the bridge. So he couldn't have ran back and be past Betsy Blair by the time she got here. All right, so here's Betsy Blair. And this is from her point of view. All right, I'm just trying to let you see how it went that day based on the information that is really out there. We know what time Betsy Blair got there. We know what time Abby and Libby were dropped off. Abby and Libby were behind Betsy Blair, and both of them went to the Monon High Bridge right when they got there. And we know that because Abby and Libby took photographs on the bridge, and we know Betsy Blair went that direction because that's what her normal routine is, to go to the Monon High Bridge. Then she would go on the 505 trail. And let me show you that really quick. Betsy Blair's normal routine would be to park here and then walk this way to the Monon High Bridge. Then she would go up here and then go down the 505 trail partway down, maybe to here, something like that. And then she would go back up. Then she would go to the Freedom Bridge, and then she would go back to her car. That would be a loop. Now, I guess if she was doing multiple loops in one, she probably would just head to the Monon High Bridge again, down the 505 partially, then back up, then to the Freedom Bridge, and then back this direction. So that was kind of her route. Apparently, on this day, she didn't go down the 505 after going to the Monon High Bridge, and I wonder if she did that because she saw the person standing on the bridge. I don't know. So it's 1:49 now. And I added some graphics in here at different points just to let you know when various things happen. So you can see, this video is pretty shaky, but you can see, look how easy it is to see through those trees, though. Very open. I wish this was 4K. I do have some 4K video from that time, and man, you can just really see quite differently than when it's very lush, like in the summer months. So you got to just picture Richard Allen still at that bridge. He had no time to have got back and passed Betsy Blair. So when you look at this, you know that Richard Allen is still over near the bridge. And Richard Allen, if you remember, said he was standing on platform 1 wearing blue jeans, a dark blue or black Carhartt jacket with a hoodie and some sort of head covering, which he said was a skull cap. And I think there's a skull cap picture when he's playing pool that looks like that very well could be the same cap that he's wearing. So now it's 1:50 and 27 seconds. And this is a pretty good pace too, if you look at it, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12. All right, so now we're at 1:50 and 45 seconds. And there's that corner coming up here. Location where Betsy Blair passed Abby and Libby on the way back. Right, so this is the spot where she passed Abby and Libby when she was heading back. Now, what I do to represent her coming back is I reverse this video so that you're kind of looking behind Betsy Blair as she's walking back. And then when she passes Abby and Libby, I switch over to going back the other direction and have that be Abby and Libby. And I think it's pretty easy to do it that way. That way you get a similar or pretty accurate timing, because it's the same pace. You're just sort of switching it up. Now, we don't know exactly how fast Abby and Libby were walking. I think they were doing it much slower, you know, so they could have got to the bridge a minute or two after I have them getting to the bridge. But I think Betsy Blair, she was exercising, so she likely walked at a pretty good pace. So right now it's 1:51 and 1:52. I actually predicted that she got it to the bridge at 1:53 in my... I did it like an animation, and I would show people, and that's the time I had written down. I think it's pretty close. So she's walking this direction. Now, I think she turned around at the barricade because there was a man standing on platform 1. I think normally she probably would go near the bridge just to kind of glance at the water for a second and then turn around. I don't think she would normally turn around at the barricade, but I could be wrong. But why not go a little bit further to get a little view of something nice? So you see in front of us there, those are the barricades that are not there anymore. But you'll see this little path that goes out to the left, and that path is still there, and that's in the new... If you film something new out there now, you'll still see that path going off to the left, even though it's paved and everything. So those are the barricades. And right at the barricades, that's where she sees the bridge guy standing on platform 1, who's Richard Allen. And see that little path going out to the left? That's still there. So right here, you'll see, I'll give you an example of what it looks like. So I'm stopping the clock here, but look, that's how far away she'd be standing. You know, he's probably even a little smaller than that, standing on that platform. Maybe not, though. So it's 1:53 and 37 seconds, pretty close to my original guess. And he's standing there, and so from this distance, it's 111 feet. I don't think she got a good view. Now Betsy Blair turns around and walks back. So what I'm doing is just reversing the video, like this. So in this case, just going the other direction, so it's almost like you're looking behind. You could almost perhaps try to envision Richard Allen maybe walking to check. Maybe Betsy Blair was going to be a target. You know, that's one question we do not know the answer to. Did Richard Allen specifically target Abby and Libby before he got there? That is the question I think a lot of us want to know. And if he did target them before he got there, how did he know that they were going to be there? All right, now it's 1:54 and 26 seconds. Walking the other direction. Now, basically, this would be a camera shooting behind Betsy Blair as she is walking out. Or, you know, right now she's heading towards the Freedom Bridge. Apparently, she didn't go down the 505 trail on this loop here. (1:54 and 53 seconds). I think the only time we'll ever find out if Richard Allen had a connection to anybody else would be after sentencing, and then after any appeals have run out. Because that would be the only time he could make a deal, because if you make a deal before that, that's admitting something. So appeals really wouldn't work at that point. So pretty soon is going to be the spot where Betsy Blair passes Abby and Libby. When, they're heading towards the Monon High Bridge. So, Richard Allen's likely still standing, waiting. Betsy Blair said it looked like he was waiting for somebody, but she just wasn't the person that he was waiting for. Now, I don't know how, what that looks like. If somebody, knows what it would look like if somebody's waiting for somebody, maybe he turned his head and was like, oh, looked disappointed or something. So we're just about there at the point where Abby and Libby pass. And I fade to black, and then I reverse the video again. And that'll be from the eyes of Abby and Libby. So there you go. Now this is them passing Betsy Blair in this spot here. And they head towards the Monon High Bridge. So I think this is a clever way to get the timing correct. 1:56:37. And so Richard Allen's been at the bridge for 11 minutes now. And does anybody think it would be reasonable to go look at fish and just get there and then turn around really fast? I mean, I guess it's possible if you went there to look at fish and you looked in the water and it was murky. But it seems like after walking that distance, you'd hang out there for a few minutes anyways. So regardless, Betsy Blair, her getting there so close to the time that Richard Allen would have got to the bridge, he just wouldn't have had time to have gotten past her and be heading towards the Freedom Bridge. And not only that, that doesn't match what he said. He said he was there from 1:30 to 3:30. And if he had passed Betsy Blair, that would have been at 1:49. He was a little bit further down near the benches. And 1:40, maybe 1:50. And, where's he going after that? I mean, that's like you're heading out at that point. Yeah, so let me open up this really quick. So this is where they pass. It's pretty close to what I had, 1:56 to 1:57. And then I have Betsy Blair, 1:51 to 1:53, getting to the barricade here. All right? And then 1:53, that's when she sees him on platform 1. So I was pretty close. So again, this is Abby and Libby's eyes right now. And now you can see the barricade up there. It's 1:57, 1:58. I think this is an interesting look at this. It shows you how Richard Allen is locked in from the visual perspective. He would have had no time to pass Betsy Blair, and the three girls lock him in as being there at 1:30. And then Betsy Blair locks him in at the bridge, exactly when he was supposed to be there. About 1:45 he would get to the bridge, and then Betsy Blair gets out of her car at 1:47, 1:48, and goes straight to the trails and does not see him on the entire walk to the bridge except when she gets to the bridge. And he is standing on platform 1. So it's almost 1:59 here. And here's the barricade. And he came around. Now the bridge guy, Richard Allen, saw them coming and already started walking back. So I do this little thing where I pause it. And I put him here. So he's right here, and he's going to walk past them. All right, now this is 1:59 and 16 seconds. Now earlier I showed you probably where he went back to, waited and watched. And let me show you on here. So, he's right there on platform 1. And then when the girls get there, Abby and Libby, he likely walks back this direction and then stands back here a little bit, like right in this area where he can see in both directions. See, and that way he can monitor if anybody's coming in. Like, does he need to call off his plan? And then the girls, they got to the bridge at about 1:59, maybe 2 o'clock. And then they take a picture right here at 2:05. So that's very consistent, right? They get on the bridge and Abby's kind of slow, so they're just kind of moving along, and they take a picture at 2:05, and that's the picture of the full length of the bridge, the one that's black and white. Then at 2:07, a picture from here was uploaded to Snapchat, which seems very consistent with the 2:05 timing of the first shot that was found on the phone. Now, the nutters out there think that this picture is fake. Just think how ludicrous that is for a minute, okay? It was out on the first night, done in 2017. Then the girls continue this direction, and then at 2:13 and 51 seconds, so remember earlier I was saying 2:13 and maybe 40, but it's actually 2:13 and 51 seconds is when the video started that Abby and Libby took when Abby and Libby were on the bridge. So when they're at this portion right down here, Libby started filming after they got off the end of the bridge. They saw him coming, and he was that far away. I've actually timed it out where he's way back here, and then at 2:13 51 seconds and is able to walk down, and then at right around 2:14 the bridge guy is closer up into this area here, probably more like right there, and then at 2:14 and 34 seconds is when it ends. So he wasn't in the main focus of the video when she turned it on, but eventually when he gets closer, he becomes in focus in the video. And then in this location right here, he says in his own words that he cycled a bullet, it came out, he did something to his gun, he said. Then he had the girls go down the hill, and then he brought him to this area here, I believe. I always called that the corner. And in that area, he planned to assault them. And apparently the phone stopped moving for 7 minutes down in that area. And then a white van drove by, and he looks up and he sees the van, and it scared him. So then he took the girls across the creek over here. This is from his words. And he killed them. He wanted to make sure that they didn't suffer. And then he covered them with branches. And the reason he killed them was out of being selfish. He said that he wanted to preserve his own self. So he killed both of them. And I'm wondering if the way Abby, maybe he was going to allow Abby to live. He obviously let her dress again. And then his selfishness took over. And that's kind of why he keeps saying that. He did it out of selfishness to protect himself, because he feels guilty about that death. And then apparently he comes out through the cemetery here, and then Sarah Carbaugh sees a man, muddy and bloody, who matches the description of bridge guy walking by right there. And Sarah Carbaugh, when she drives by right here, notices a group of people that are here about to start searching for Abby and Libby. If this is Richard Allen walking right here, he would see this group of people here and then make his way up like this and across over to the abandoned CPS building, get in his car, and then I think from there drove around like this into here, onto the highway, Highway 25, and then around. Then he took this exit right there, and then that winds back over to his house. Not sure what happened to the map there, but goes right to his house right there. All right, well, thank you all very much for watching. I hope it helped you visualize how Richard Allen is locked in as bridge guy. First, the 3 girls lock him in, and the sighting of his vehicle driving by the Hoosier Harvest store and his own words. Then you have Betsy Blair locking him in at the bridge and the timing that it would take to get to the bridge, and then she turns around, walks past Abby and Libby, and therefore Abby and Libby have to run into him. And now you've seen it all in a visual way, as if you're there. using the videos that I've collected over the years. And I was just out there last year for part of that. All right, so thank you all very much for watching. If you could hit that like button, share the video, and leave me a comment in the comments section and let me know what you think. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there.